Alright guys, so we've got a 2001 Chevrolet Silverado 5.3 liter engine, and we're going to put valve cover gaskets on this. You can see they've been leaking pretty good, so we are going to pull this valve cover off on both sides and put gaskets on. Let me get the camera set up. Alright guys, so as I look at this, it looks like I can actually keep the coils attached to the valve cover. Of course, I am going to have to pull the wires off of the coils. Okay. Be careful with these heater hoses, because they're plastic up here by the firewall. They're just little plastic connectors, and you don't want to break those, otherwise you're going to be replacing them. And I think, let's see, what else do we have here? Got to get that off. That looks like this one's going underneath this connector, so this coil is going to have to, but I can actually snap that back down, so that should not interfere. That's the injector wires there. They're going to stay. And as long as I can get, it looks like I can get to all the actual hold down bolts. There's a bigger vacuum line right here, but I can't really see it to get it off. But I can feel it. So let's see if we can just take a screwdriver. Of course, my luck, it's probably gonna rip all to hell. Yeah, it's probably gonna be brittle. I'm gonna take this upper plastic shroud off, because I might want to disconnect that up at the top side. If you can disconnect this vacuum line, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I'm disconnecting this right here. If you can get it disconnected at the actual valve cover, I think that's going to be the better way to do it. In this particular instance, I'd have to take this bracket off right here, which is no big deal, but easier just to disconnect the hose right there. So I'm going to come down here. These are 8mm bolts. Looks like there's 4 of them. Let me get my light. Oops. Try not to do that. One more down in there. And if you've got a swivel socket, you should be able to get on it. Okay. So that should do it. One valve. Always good just to kind of look down in here, make sure you don't see anything completely out of the ordinary. And I'm going to take my scraper, and I'm going to scrape that gasket surface clean, and then we'll get the new valve cover gasket put on the valve cover, and then start going back together with the valve cover on this side. Okay. Put a little brake cleaner on a rag and go over that. And that should be good enough. Of course, if you feel with your thumb or finger anything rough, then you're going to want to make sure that feel anything high sticking up, make sure that that's scraped smooth. Alright, I think that should do it. Let me show you the valve cover. So there's the valve cover. And if this was a, this truck's got literally like 200 and some thousand miles. He just drives it. Probably goes longer than normal on oil changes and everything else. I'm not going to worry about trying to clean the valve cover up and making it look pretty, because there's nothing pretty about this truck. But I mean, if it's your truck and you're wanting to make it look as pretty as possible, then obviously, there's where that vacuum hose would go. Then obviously, clean it up however much you want to clean it up. All he cares about is preventing it from leaking. And it looks like We're probably going to have to take this off because there's a rubber gasket, which is probably actually what's leaking on this more than anything. Judging by how much oil's on top of the valve cover, there's little rubber gaskets that go underneath the heads of these. I ain't going to be able to get this one out, so this whole mess is going to probably have to come off. There's only two, maybe three studs it looks like, and this thing maybe four. Yeah, four. And then that whole coil assembly will pop off there. So let me get to that point and we'll keep going. Alright guys, so in order to get this one out, we got to pull this coil stack off here. One more. Two more. See the little rubber piece right there? That's what you're after. Make sure you change these out, not just the gasket. So let me get cleaned up. Let me get the rubber pieces. We're just going to cut these off here, and then stick the rubber pieces back on there, and then reassemble this, and then put the valve cover on. See how brittle those are? Get on there. Alright. So that takes care of these. Tell you what, before I drop these down in there, I think I'm going to go ahead, pry this gasket out. Put the new gasket in. Good. I was hoping that was going to pry out of there real nice, and it did. Good enough. Okay. No RTV required. Make sure it's going to stay in there. Yeah. It does look like it's going to stay. Well, as soon as I said that, it fell out. Alright guys, ready to go back on? The only thing that I've done, I went ahead and disconnected this connector, and the only reason I did that is because of this hose that's still connected to the valve cover. Depending on your year, make, and model, yours may be a little different, but I'm gonna real gingerly lay this in here. And there it is right there. Good idea just to look around, make sure that that gasket's not being, you know, the gasket's in place, that it's not falling out of the, being pinched out of the valve cover, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And these do shoulder out, so, I mean, you can torque them. There is a torque on them. I don't know what it is, but we're just going to snug them up about where I think they ought to be, and I'm sure it'll be just fine. And I'm going to start in the middle. And just so I know about how tight these things are, I like to just put a wrench on them, just to make sure. I don't really trust the ratcheting part of my gun, so that does seem like about right. See if we can. Yeah, I don't guess that's going to stay. Alright, we're almost done with this side, fellas. This little clip broke on me, but I don't think it's going to cause a problem. Should hear a little bit of a snap whenever these go back on. And should be able to feel it too. Alright, I think we're done on this side. New valve cover gasket. I know it doesn't look pretty, and again, depending on how much work you want to put into it, you can pretty that up however much you want. The thing is, I don't have a solvent tank. If I had a solvent tank, I would have threw that valve cover in it and I would have scrubbed it down real good. It just makes it a lot more pleasurable putting it back together whenever it's clean too. But I don't have a solvent tank. I would have had to scrub on it, spray it down with probably multiple cans of brake cleaner, and it's not worth it. Alright guys, so this looks like a pretty similar deal as the other side. There goes my light. Now, instead of fighting that, hate to break stuff like that. So let's see what it's going to take to release it. Get that up and out of the way. And I think I'm going to approach this one a little different. Since I know, because this looks like the same, I can access every one of these bolts, but this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this whole coil pack rail off, or bracket, or whatever you want to call it, just to do it, since we know that we got to do it anyway. So you either take it off now or take it off later, the way I look at it. And let's see, there's one there. Alright, made it all the way down. And that one made it all the way down too. So I think we only got one more. Yep, back there in the back. I know you probably won't be able to see it, but I'm going to need a swivel for this one. Yeah, I think this is probably easier. I think you may as well just take the coil packs off just to get them out of your way, personally. First time I've done one of these valve cover jobs, so it should give you a good idea. How long it'll take a newbie. Sorry about the camera. And we got the other one off. Oh yeah, there's a hose. Okay. That's PVC valve. Always a good idea to shake it to make sure that it rattles. If it doesn't rattle, it's stuck. Alright, I'm not going to bore you with cleaning this surface up. It's the same deal as I did on the other side. So I'm going to shut the camera off while I get this cleaned up. I'm going to get the new gasket and the valve cover. Alright guys, so here we go with this one. I guess I may as well. Stick the PCB valve in there, make it easy on myself, right? There it goes. I think that was it. Alright, that's about it, guys. I took this, you don't necessarily have to take this off, but I did because of obviously the that hose on the other side was easier to get to underneath that shroud than on the valve cover. But anyway, obviously you want to start it up, let it run for a while, make sure it's not leaking. I'm going to spray this down with some degreaser, kind of let it help dry some of that old oil residue up. But other than that, we're done. About 30 minutes, I'd say, is what it took to get both these replaced. So a pretty simple valve cover job. Anyway, you guys take care.